Hey guys, so welcome to Tuesday's Facebook Live broadcast. Luckily I had two children that went to bed at a reasonable time for naps, so I am here, I'm on time, I'm ready, and I have to say that this is a really nice incentive to shower on Tuesday mornings, so thank you guys for that. Stay at home, work at home mama doesn't always happen, so thank you for the motivation. So I just wanted to first introduce myself. I am Rachel. I'm the owner and author of CanDoKiddo.com, as well as books that are published by CanDo Kiddo, and most recently my feeding course, Food Before One. And basically I'm on a mission. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and a mama of two, and I'm on a mission to help other parents. So sharing my professional expertise as an occupational therapist and my personal experience as a mom. And so today, one way I wanted to sort of foster some community here during these Facebook Lives, and also to just empower us and give us some ideas, is I wanted to talk about easy, healthy meals for your baby or toddler, and then I really want you guys to chime in with what's working for your family or what ideas you have. So I have some ideas that I'm going to share, and I definitely want you guys to chime in. I'm going to do my best to moderate comments and do multiple things at once. That's not usually how my brain works, so hang with me. But so one of the reasons why I wanted to do this one, hi Jill, is because I found that one of the biggest shockers for me as a mom was how relentless meal planning and meal prep is when you have kids. I feel like I spend most of my day in the kitchen either preparing a meal or cleaning up after a meal. And it just, like, the second I can wipe the sweat from my brow and feel like the meal is done, it's snack time or it's another meal. So I feel like with that grind, it's always nice to have some meals in your back pocket that are easy, that don't require thought, that don't require a lot of prep or a lot of cleanup. So that's why we have kind of our list of go-tos, and you probably do too. And then the other thing that I wanted to share today, or the reason why I wanted to talk about this today, is it's just so easy to get into a rut, right? Where you just think of the same meals over and over. And sometimes it's helpful to have someone else open up your eyes to even really obvious choices, but they're just not part of your routine. So that's kind of my hope for today, is that we would get some easy ideas and some new ideas and walk away feeling like, oh yeah, we've got this at least for the next few weeks, right? Some new meals. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I see some people here. Jill's introduced herself. Feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're from. And I really do want this to be engaging. I want you guys to interact and contribute. So let's kick it off by asking for everybody watching, what is your child's favorite food right now? And I'll share that Rowan, who's 2.5, is all about bananas and always has been. He's a banana addict. We actually have to hide our bananas because if he sees them, he's really tall and he can reach onto the counters and get them, so we hide them. And then Eloise is a Cheerio hound. She loves Cheerios, just the plain old Cheerios, not Honey Nut or anything on them. She just wants plain dry Cheerios. She'll accept them soggy from milk, but she really likes the dry ones. Hey Courtney, how are you? And so as you guys chime in with what your favorite foods are for your kiddos, I wanted to share with you 10 foods that we always try to keep on hand in our house. Oh, yogurt drops. Yep, those are good ones. True story, I actually really love those too. I don't know if you guys have that problem, but puffs and yogurt melts, I'm all about. So 10 foods that we try to keep on hand so that we can whip up these easy meals at any time. And most of these are things that will last a little while. The one exception on the list I'll point out to you. But the first thing that we like to keep on hand are eggs. We always have eggs in our house. We buy them by the 18 pack. We usually have 2 of them in the fridge at any time. And oh yeah, hiding those bananas. Thanks Jennifer for chiming in. But we use eggs a lot, and I'll go into how we prepare all these later. But so we always have eggs. We always have beans, so dried beans. I'm not a big fan of doing dried beans, but I have to confess, I recently found a recipe for, it's like mock refried beans. They're not actually fried, and they don't have any lard or anything in them, but they're done in the crock pot, and they are like the easiest, most wonderful thing. So I'll share that recipe with you guys. The next one is Veggie Burgers. Those are just like frozen veggie burgers, and we've tried a bunch of different brands, and I'll get whatever. I go to a bunch of grocery stores, y'all. It's bad. I go to about 4 different grocery stores, and each grocery store has a different brand. But our favorites, I think, are called Dr. Praeger's. And all these foods, just so you know, so you don't have to like write anything down, all these foods are going to be in a blog post that went live today on CanDo Kiddo. So the link for that blog post is in the description of this Facebook Live up at the top, above this video, I believe. Next up is avocados. So the one thing on the list that is perishable, avocados. They only last for what, like 12 hours before they're bad, but we love them and we keep them in the house a lot. Hey Carly, peanut butter toast. Yep, same here. We love peanut butter. It's so messy. That's the only thing about peanut butter, right? Like the cleanup. Oh, peanut butter is actually on my list too. So yogurt. So Carly just mentioned yogurt. That's on our list of easy things. We always have about 3 tubs of yogurt, literally like that big, in our fridge. Peanut butter, that's definitely one of ours. Frozen fruit. Now we always have, or I shouldn't say always, we try to keep fresh fruit in the house, but we always like to have some frozen fruit in the freezer, just for those times, like by the end of the week when your groceries are running out, I feel like the first thing to go for us is the fruit. Like we'll run out of fruit before anything else. Frozen spinach. Again, we often have fresh spinach on hand or fresh kale, but we have those packets of like frozen spinach in our freezer just for when we're running out of groceries. Makes it really easy. They're also good in smoothies. Oh, peanut butter's on the list twice. I should check that on the blog and make sure it isn't. Hey Kelly, tomatoes and yogurt. That's funny. One of my kids loves tomatoes and one doesn't. So I guess that's an acquired taste. But cucumbers, soup. Yeah, another messy one, but really fun. And littlest. How old's your littlest one, Kelly? Cheerios is on our list because that's a easy one for us. And I'll tell you some kind of quirky ways that we prepare food with Cheerios. And then bananas, of course. So, and you can also freeze those bananas and include that with the frozen fruit. So let's start with breakfast. Some of the things that we use, these foods on our list of easy foods, we do a lot of eggs. Oh, 8 weeks. Congratulations. That's awesome, Kelly. Yeah, so I know what his or her favorite food is, right? So for breakfast, we'll do eggs sometimes. I confess the mornings are kind of busy and crazy around here with Daddy trying to get off to work, and my toddler doesn't always wake up in the best of moods. So eggs are usually something that I do for an easy dinner or a lunch instead of breakfast. We'll do eggs on the weekends for breakfast a lot. I've attempted hard-boiled eggs as snacks. Neither of my kids love hard-boiled eggs, so we're still working on that. But in whatever capacity your kids love eggs, they're a good breakfast. I like to take either the frozen spinach or fresh spinach, dice it up, saute it real fast with some olive oil, and then pour the mixed up eggs in for scrambled eggs with greens in it. So as long as you chop that spinach up really small, my kids love it. Now some kids that are pickier may turn up their nose at it, but that's a nice way for us to slide in some greens. We do smoothies a lot for breakfast, so these could either be more like the fruit smoothies, so frozen fruit, a little bit of milk or milk alternative, whatever your family does for milk, little yogurt, little avocado if you have it, some of that spinach, and some ice and put that in the blender. Or sometimes we'll do like banana and peanut butter smoothies, which are pretty good. Again, just like some yogurt, this is all on the blog, but some yogurt, some peanut butter, some, I'm blanking, some ice, banana, and milk or a little milk alternative. Blend that up. You can also throw a little spinach in that one too. We'll do, oh, this is a good one, to take your little Cheerios and put a tiny little dollop of peanut butter. That little hole will hold some peanut butter. And so I'll make little peanut butter bites for the baby. And that's a good one. We also do a lot of banana, we call it PB banana, peanut butter banana, where I'll just take a banana and slice it like 2 pieces of bread, smear a little thin layer of peanut butter, close it back up, quarter it, and then chop it up. So in little tiny PB banana bites, as we like to call them. People are texting me while I'm Facebook Living. It's very distracting. Sorry. I keep looking above because there's texts coming through. Oh, but Jennifer, I think you're probably talking about the Cheerios. That's a little trick for our little Cheerio hound to get her a little extra protein. Oh, thank you, Tina. I'm glad you loved Food Before One. I've gotten really good feedback from that course, so I'm really happy it's helping people. So share with everybody what your kids are eating for breakfast. That's kind of a rundown of some of our favorites, but I'd love to hear what happens in your house. We also do cereal and things like that, but I was trying to just go from this list of 10 things that we always have on hand. But what works for your kids? What are your kids into? And be sure to share their ages. Most of the things that I mentioned are actually good for babies and toddlers, and that was part of the goal of this list that I shared on the blog today is foods, if you have kids of multiple ages or just at any age or stage. The one exception is if your baby's still exclusively on purees. So at that very first stage of eating, you're going to have to puree some of this down. For lunch, we almost always do sandwiches for lunch, but on the weekends, because it's easy. But on the weekends, we do things like Veggie Burgers hey Star, how are you? We do things like Veggie Burgers, a little cut up avocado. Sometimes we'll do a smoothie with just some cereal or something easy. Like I said, we'll do eggs a lot for lunch. We'll do, what else do we do a lot for lunch on the weekends? Like I said, during the week, it's like literally a sandwich 5 days a week. Oh, I'll do a yogurt parfait with the kids. Oh, oatmeal. Yep, we're big on oatmeal too. Chopped fruit. Yum. Do you mix your oatmeal with water or with milk, or what are you mixing it with? I'm curious. We usually do almond milk, but I'll make a yogurt parfait where I'll crush up Cheerios on the bottom like a little crust. Then I'll scoop some yogurt, and then I'll put either some fruit on top or some peanut butter. Y'all, if you mix in vanilla yogurt or plain yogurt with some peanut butter, mix that up. It is amazing. The kids like it too, but I always have some too. So I'll make either peanut butter or fruit parfait for them. Prunes, banana, chia seeds. Yeah, we put chia seeds in our smoothies. Those are really good. It's a good way to get those in. Thanks, Tina, for chiming those in. Okay, yeah, water. What else are we doing for lunch? Usually just those sandwiches and then those few things. We don't get too adventurous for lunch. So share with everybody what you guys are serving for lunch and how that's going with your kids and what ages your kids are to give everyone else some ideas. And then for dinner, we often have the kids eat whatever we had for dinner the night before if they're eating before us, or if we're eating as a family, they usually eat what we eat, but it doesn't always work out. Either sometimes what we're having is really spicy, or it's like a soup, something is really hard for them. And so we'll do an alternative meal for them. Oatmeal, yeah. We actually we take oatmeal and we'll mix yogurt in it both to cool it down and to thicken it up a little bit. Not a huge fan of eggs. Oh, a cup of fried egg yolk. Oh, that's cool. Okay, awesome. You can also take eggs and make little, put them in a muffin pan and make like little, ahead of time, make little, what am I trying to say, mini quiches, and put different things in there and then freeze them, and they thaw out really nicely. I've done that when I actually plan and prep for meals for the week. I've done that, but that doesn't happen. Y'all, I am really, really bad at meal prep and meal planning. That whole aspect of domestic life, I do not excel at, and I really don't enjoy it. So these easy meals really get me through. Oh yeah, cottage cheese. We do too. Do you find that cottage cheese is super messy, Margaret? I feel like my husband almost wants to ban the kids from eating cottage cheese because it's just, the little curds get everywhere. Same with rice. We're always, every time we serve rice, we're like, why did we do this? You gotta just mop up the floor. So for dinner, some things that we'll do are those beans that I talked about, the refried beans, and they're linked from the blog post. I use 100, thanks for the thumbs up. I use the 100 Days of Food recipe for mock, or I can't remember if she calls them mock refried beans or fake refried beans or something, but they're actually done in the crock pot. They're pinto beans, and we just do them overnight. And they have this really nice consistency. You drain a little excess water off and mash them with a potato masher. And so they have this nice consistency if you really mash them well, where they're almost solid, like you can scoop out little bites and then the baby can finger feed, or the toddler can finger feed. So we'll do, like for dinner, we'll do refried beans with a little bit of shredded cheese on it, some avocado sliced up. We'll do, what else do we do for dinner? We'll do smoothies for dinner sometimes. You can do a veggie burger with a side of avocado. You could do some scrambled eggs with a side of beans. There's lots of different ways to combine things from this list, but everything or nearly everything on this list is pretty high protein. A lot of them are high fat, so you can combine them to get a well-rounded meal. Our kids love spaghetti. It's not on this list, obviously, because it requires a little prep. But if we make spaghetti, it's an easy dinner. They also love tacos. But if we make either of those and make enough, they can actually eat off that for dinner 3 or 4 more times a week because they eat so little. What are you serving at home for dinner? I want to hear some dinner ideas. I'm trying to get ideas too, so you guys chime in and let me know. Those were some great breakfast ideas. I like those. I find sometimes, does anyone else feel like for lunch they just want to serve either dinner stuff or breakfast stuff? I'm not sure. Other than sandwiches, I'm not sure what distinguishes lunch foods for kids. But let's see. Oh, quinoa. Okay, now I'm curious, Tina, about the quinoa. In what format are you serving it? Are you just putting dry quinoa, like cooked, obviously, but are you just doing dry quinoa, or do you have a sauce or something that makes it a little bit stickier? My kids don't mind the flavor, but they don't like it when it's dry. So it has to be kind of in a salad or in something else. Peas and avocado, yum. Yeah, lunch is hard. Lunch is hard. I feel like it's okay to just do breakfast foods for lunch. That's kind of what I default to if I try to. Oh, avocado, smart. Avocado kind of binding the quinoa a little bit. Which oatmeal? We always use, so I have celiac disease, so we always get gluten-free oats, and we get them from Trader Joe's, which I know not everybody has close access, but so maybe someone else can chime in for that. But yeah, I definitely do grown-up oatmeal, if that makes sense, like not the powdered baby oatmeal. Once your baby is past purees, oatmeals are really soft. I mean, it's pretty close. If anyone's taking the course, I know Tina said she's taking the course. It's what I would consider like a fork mash solid. You don't actually have to mash it, but the consistency of well-cooked oatmeal is about like pre-chewed food. So it's really good for babies once they're off that initial puree phase, which for some babies is really short. So that would be my answer to that, Rachel. But you guys chime in with your favorite brands of oatmeal for babies. I'm curious. Trying to think what else are our go-tos. I mean, lunch, I just don't, I find you, like, figure out what works for lunch and stick with it. We have a couple of different variations of sandwiches. We'll do, like, a peanut butter banana sandwich for my toddler. I do have to cut that up really small for him because between the banana and the peanut butter and the soft bread, it gets really, really smushy, and, like, he'll create this whole ball or blob in his mouth that's really gross, but it's too much food. So I really have to pace him with that more than I do with like a turkey sandwich because it's just stickier. I'm trying to think what else we'll do. We do a lot of toast. Someone mentioned toast. We definitely do a lot of toast we'll do the avocado on the toast. We'll even do the beans with some cheese on it for toast. We do just plain cheese toast. We'll do grilled cheese. So toast is always a good fallback, and we alternate. I mean, we have different brands of bread for the kids. We usually do like a whole grain or a whole wheat bread, and then I make gluten-free bread in our bread maker, so sometimes they have that bread too. I would say, I'm trying to think of other ideas for lunch because I know people said they were stumped with lunch foods. Does anybody's kid like hard-boiled eggs? I'm curious. I don't know if it's just mine, but I feel like that would be a really easy lunch thing. Like just have them cooked for the week, grab it, chop up some avocado or something else with some fats in it, and then some fruit, call it and a veggie, call it a day. Mostly what we eat, yeah, too spicy. We do too. We eat a lot of ethnic foods, and I've actually been surprised. My kids, on occasion, we've fed them something before we take a bite of it, and afterwards we're like, whoa, that was really spicy, but they both like it. So one of the veggie burgers we get actually is a spicy Southwestern burger, and they like it. But a tortilla with melted cheese, yeah, that's a good one. We've done quesadillas with the refried beans and some cheese too. Meatballs, that's a good one. A friend of mine was just talking about, she makes meatballs with also, she uses ground chicken. Hey, Heather. Ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef. She does meatballs with everything. I thought that was really good. And then she can mix her veggies in, which is nice. And cut them up for little finger foods. That's a great idea. I should probably do those. A little bit more prep involved, but what else? Heather, what are your kids eating lately? I'm curious. Because Heather's got a little one who's around the same age as mine. She's a little bit ahead. Hey, Andrea, how are you? So just to bring the new folks up to speed, we're just discussing foods that our kiddos like, especially for lunch, for dinner as well, but for lunch, because lunch seems to be a hard one for people. And, yeah, we're stuck in a rut. We're always stuck in a rut. Let's see if I don't know if I'm allowed to scroll back. Oh, sorry, guys. Someone called me. Sweet potatoes. Yes. 1 plate of fruits, veggies, crackers, cold meat. Yes. We have, so we have these little ice cube trays from IKEA. They're like, well, I thought they were silicone until I thought about microwaving them. They're actually rubber, but they have these little squares, like, to make the ice, and I call it a square lunch, and sometimes I'll do exactly what you're saying. Can't see who left that comment here. Kelly. Yeah, I'll do that and call it a square lunch, and the novelty factor is really high there. Mac and cheese. Yeah, we don't do a lot of mac and cheese. I guess because I'm gluten-free, I don't think about it a lot, but we should. Both love fruit, green smoothies to get greens in. Yeah, we do. I've been talking about the smoothies. We default to smoothies a lot too. And they're also kind of nice for minimal cleanup for us if you have a spoon with them. I hear somebody waking up downstairs, so I might have to leave in a second. The sweet potatoes that Jennifer mentioned, if I'm feeling exceptionally prepared, I'll dice them and put them in a little coconut oil and then put a little cinnamon and bake them. And those are awesome as a snack too. But I'm trying to see quick protein. Kid fresh chicken meatballs. Oh, that's a good idea. Hidden veggies. But in a pinch, if I don't prep ahead of time, because that takes a little while to peel and chop and bake, I will just like chop and bake some, or boil some sweet potatoes and then mash them up. Cheese bread, black beans, cubed cheese. Yeah, I actually think, Andrea, that the recipe that I've been mentioning for, it's like crock pot refried beans. They're not actually refried, but I bet you could do it with black beans. I've been using dried pinto beans because that's what the recipe calls for, but I bet it would be good with black beans. Yeah. I feel like I did a lot more black beans with Rowan, and somehow I don't with Eloise. It's funny, my food range gets smaller as I add children, right? Oh, tofu. I've never even tried tofu. What a good idea. Okay, that's a great idea, Heather. So for the gal, I'm trying to see who it was. Sorry, I feel like I'm sticking a finger in y'all's face every time I scroll back. But Katie had asked about her daughter's allergic to, or son, whoever is allergic to peanut butter and dairy, which is a sad face. That would be really hard. But Heather mentioned the tofu. That would be a good idea as long as she can have, or he can have soy. Homemade mac and cheese, noodles, butter, shredded cheese. Both kids love it. Ooh, good idea. I might have to try that one because I could do that with gluten-free noodles, and I could have some too. The few times I have made mac and cheese, I always mix peas in it. I don't know, mac and peas, it just works. There's a restaurant in town here that serves that on their kids menu. So, hey April, how are you? So that's kind of what I defaulted to. It's an easy way to get peas in. Let's see what Kelly said. Big batches of soup and freeze them. All of different soup. Yeah, that's what we do with soup too. We usually strain it a little bit so that it's not quite so messy, which you can't do for the pure, completely smooth soups. But yeah, we actually have some soup in our fridge right now. Tofu would be good. And I wonder, Katie, if you could do like sandwiches that just have avocado. We do a lot of hummus too. I actually should include that on our super easy list. We do a lot of hummus. So you could do some sandwiches with like hummus and some cucumber or something else like that, or with avocado. You could probably combine the tofu with those things too. I wonder, Katie, is it just peanut butter? Could you do a different nut butter, like a sunflower? Is it sunflower butter that a lot of people substitute? A lentil soup with carrots and potatoes. That's awesome. Yeah, I've tried lentils once or twice, and nobody in my family is a big fan, but I think if they're mixed into something, they do better. There's actually a mix from Trader Joe's that's frozen that includes lentils, and I make like a sauteed thing with sausage with that, and they will eat it in that. So I wonder if a soup would work. Okay, if it's just peanut butter, there's definitely alternatives. I think a lot of people are allowed to bring sunflower butter if there's a peanut butter restriction at their school, so you might look into that one. It's probably way more expensive, but if you're only using it for a little one, you're probably not going to go through it. Just don't get addicted to it yourself. I went through an addiction to cashew butter, and that stuff is like $9 a jar, so that kind of slowed me down pretty quickly. Sorry, I'm going to scroll up. Struggles with veggie tots. Yeah, I want to try the veggie tots. I've seen some good recipes for that. Frozen yogurt bites, freezing Greek yogurt. Oh, that's a good idea. I've seen like yogurt brittle too, where you just kind of smear it on a pan with wax paper, freeze it, and then just break it up. And I've also seen, I wanted to try, this is what Pinterest will do, right? I have 1,000 things I want to try, and I'll probably never try them, but chickpeas, there's a way to kind of oven roast chickpeas with seasoning as a snack. I thought that sounded really clever. Excuse me, both my kids will eat chickpeas, really with no seasoning, and really not even cooked. They'll just take them out of the can. Peanut allergies, well, wow butter. Okay. Do you know what is wow butter, Rachel? Is it a nut or a legume? What is the butter from? Red lentil patties with veggies mixed in. That went over well. Okay. Mary, was that a recipe you found, or was that something you purchased, already made? I'm all about soy-based. Okay, that makes sense, Rachel. Freeze-dried yogurt bites. Ah, a huge container. I wonder if that's from Costco or BJ's or someplace. That's one of our 7 grocery stores that we visit, is BJ's. these are good ideas, y'all. And I love that everybody's suggesting things that have some protein in them and some fats. One thing that I found in working with especially parents of children under a year is, and especially with breastfeeding moms, there's a sort of a fear of giving things that have proteins and fats. Sometimes these moms want to stay on fruits and vegetables because they're scared anything else will fill their baby up and then it will lead to a change in their breastfeeding status. And you know, that might be true for some kids, but what I recommend in the course and what I recommend to parents is that you, up till a year, that you feed your baby liquid diet first, followed by solids. And so the idea is that the solids are just kind of the icing on the cake. They've got their nutritional needs met from the milk. They're just adding some food for experience. Oh yeah, roasted chickpeas and garlic. Yeah, that's what, that sounds exactly like the recipe I saw, and I wanted to try it. It sounded really good. So my recommendation would be not to fear that you're going to feed your baby too much solids. As long as they've had their liquids first, don't worry too much about that. The idea is that you want to introduce them to healthy foods in that first year and to a wide range of foods in that first year, because you're helping develop their palate and their acceptance of foods. So things like meat, they're important. Unless your family is vegetarian or want your child to be vegetarian, meats are important. Chickpeas are important. I mean, all these different proteins that we're talking about, unless your child has an allergy or your family has some food beliefs or food customs that don't leave the door open for those things, I would highly recommend to try different things in baby's first year. It's really important. So that's one of the things that I touch on in Food Before One, is just that balance of the liquid diet, solid diet, and especially when moms are breastfeeding, that's usually a concern. What else? So you guys are giving some good ideas. It sounds like my little one went back down, so I'll leave it open for a few more minutes. But so be sure to chime in. But in the meantime, like I said, my ideas, the foods that we keep on hand, and then my ideas for recipes and meals are on the blog, and that includes the link to, I'll also add in the link below or in the comments below the link to 100 Days of Real Foods Crock Pot Refried Beans. But just know that all this is on the blog, and the link is up in the description of this Facebook Live. It's bit.ly/kiddo food. Nursing mom. Oh, good, Tina. Yeah, my kids both ate very heartily. Well, Rowan much more than Eloise ate very heartily in his first year in terms of solid foods, and he nursed till 2.5. So for most kids, it is okay. I know as a parent who's breastfeeding, it can be kind of concerning or worrisome to introduce solids into that relationship and to not know how that's going to go. So anytime you don't know the outcome of something and know that it's out of your control, it can be really anxiety producing. So all right, guys, well, I'm going to wrap up. All of this is over on the blog as well, and all these comments will be archived. This Facebook Live will also be archived here on the CanDo Kiddo Facebook page if you want to come back and refresh your memory every now and then for these ideas. And you're going to find this video in the videos tab, which if you're on your desktop, it's on the left side of your screen. I think things are reversed, so it's over there. And then if you're on mobile, it's going to be up at the top right underneath that sign up button. And that sign up button will actually enable you to get a free printable of my top 5 recommendations for feeding solids. And so feel free, if you haven't seen that and you have a young feeder, if your child is older, toddler, preschool age, it probably won't apply, but if you have a young feeder or you're anticipating starting solids, it's a great resource for you, so don't forget to sign up for that. And I hope you guys have a great week, and thank you for being involved and chiming in. That was fun, and I'll see you guys hopefully next Tuesday, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another Facebook Live. Have a good one.